Right.
And then 13 cents is left over. I remember one time saying this to Pansy down at the State House. Steve, can you guys afford another dime? And he said to me, this isn't exact words, but it's close. He said, I'm not giving you another dime because you'll just give it to the teachers. But really, we do a really good job.
Yeah. Yeah.
With that, when you look at it through that number, Tom.
Yeah.
Are we perfect? Nope. Middle schools need major help, and the high school needs major help. Elementary in the city of Lowell, you don't pay for it, but if you could afford it, send your kid to the Immaculate, like the people that can afford it.
Yeah. Yeah. Great school. Great school.
Yeah. Lowell Catholic, if you can afford it.
Yeah, it's expensive. Yeah.
I liked what John McDonough said last night, Tom. I said something about this issue. I said, Cam K, one of my good buddies. Cam K, he's over in Cambodia. We miss you, buddy. I'd like to go out and play some golf. He loves golf and cigars.
Yeah.
The guy, a great guy. But remember, when he ran for school committee one time, and I was trying to help him to get elected because I really wanted him on that school committee, he was for that issue. I forget the way it was worded, one of those questions, vote no on this.
Right.
But
Right.
he was for giving money to people that have their kids in parochial schools, giving them a kickback, give them a voucher.
Yeah.
And it's just happened in Texas.
Yeah.
They're going to give you $11,000 to help you out so you have school choice, more competition. I think in the future, and that's what I'm hoping, things like that happen across the country. John McDonough said his response was, I'll let him say it maybe if he hears me, but he basically said, if Trump puts that out there, that might sweep the country, that issue.
Right.
School choice,
Right.
parents' choice. It's a
It
big
should be.
issue.
Yeah.
Big
yeah.
issue.
Yeah. I mean, it just the effect. I know Nutter was one of the big proponents of neighborhood schools. They tried to do it the last time. I think Danny brought it up again.
Yeah,
and it was shot down.
You
It's
know
a
who-
shame a kid goes to school the other side of the community.
There's another thing, Tom.
Yeah.
You brought it up too. You just said that.
John, does it matter that we're not on there?
Keep going.
Okay, just make sure you didn't. I want to let you know.
the one person.
Boston activity,
Ah,
restarted everything, blah, blah, blah.
all right, good.
And I'll tell you the guys are going on because it takes all.
It's all right. You hear us talk. You hear us talking, and you can
Yeah.
bring something up later.
Yeah.
But when you want to give credit for that, neighborhood schools, that has to go to a person. They took his name off the high school right now where they're doing the renovations.
George Cole Harris.
Yeah, they took it down twice.
It's going to go back up.
Well, I'm hoping they put
Well,
it back
better go
up.
back up.
That's what
Well,
I'm
if you
saying.
become a school committee, you better make sure it goes back
yeah,
up.
it was Timmy Golden and myself that put a motion in to put his name up over the Irish
He was a
auditorium.
great guy.
But don't think when they didn't see that come down, there's not a group of people in the city that wasn't happy, okay?
Oh,
But
absolutely.
he was the leader, as far as I'm concerned, neighborhood schools, everybody should speak English, and he was a disciplinarian
Yeah.
type person.
Yeah,
If he caught you graffiti in the school, watch out.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
I don't know, yeah, I could say this. You gotta watch all your words in this world, but when I got elected to the school committee the first time, you go in the back room, they got lockers for you with your name on it so you can hang up your coat.
Yeah.
I'll leave paperwork there, right?
They call it the ante room, right?
There you go. Well, I don't know what they call it.
I remember that from years
But I
ago.
remember him walking right up to me, probably was up to my chest at the time. I weighed about 260 at that time, the first time. Big guy, and he goes, I hope you got the word VALLS's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you? We're going to fight this bilingual education. All right, and there's an issue that if you bring up about me, I run on that too. But then I got elected, right? You know, some people flip on an issue. Let's call it flipping, because it is a flip.
Oh, we've seen it time and time again where
Yeah.
people flip.
Well, I had this one. I'll say that one. And don't forget who I'm talking about, George Cooler Harris.
Yeah.
Before I got elected, I'm on his side, right? And when I got elected about bilingual education, because he said neighborhood schools, this is the subject you brought up, neighborhood schools, everybody should speak English. And this, as far as discipline goes, he said, you got to have it, you got to have it. And I said, how are we going to do that? He goes, we got to put the law into the principal's hands. I says, yeah, really? Yeah, he says, you have to. The principal has to call all the shots on when discipline is passed out. I can go for that, but don't send them back to the classroom. Don't send that child back to the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And just a little guy. But I never seen anybody like George Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Yeah.
Bill Topey, I worked with both of them for 2 years, another unbelievable guy. And now you got McFadden. Daniel McFadden, thank you for coming out and putting your name. Nobody did it last election. And you started something that I think is going to be a good thing for Lowell, because I never felt this good about Lowell.
Right.
Really, I've always been Mr. Negativity, like all these parties, Tom. Like Rodney, I'll say it when Rodney's here. I didn't go to Rodney's party. I just don't go to a lot of parties.
Yeah.
I got to really like you to be at your party. And I do go to a few, but I always sent them. I never went to the Lowell Plan, not one time. Never went to the thing down at the
Salvation
conference
Army.
center.
Yep.
So not one time.
Or
I
the
didn't
Irish
go.
party, yeah, you never
I
go.
started to go recently to the Irish thing for the bridge.
Yeah. Right,
because of Ned
right.
Tarmey.
Right,
Ned,
right.
Ned basically strong-armed me. He said, come on, you
Right.
gotta start doing this.
Right.
I said, okay, I'll do it. But we're in good shape right now. I know you wouldn't believe that. We have some pretty good people running our city, I think. Especially, like I said, the superintendent of schools to me is amazing. He was an amazing principal. And I spent a lot of time focusing on that man. I'll tell you right now, he did wonders at the daily school. Absolutely wonders.
Yeah.
And that's probably the only reason why, Danny said, look, if he can do that at that school, I want him as the superintendent. And then how many phone calls do you think I got when Dominic Lay was the deciding vote?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Big vote. And Dominic, you really can't push him into any type of vote. He's got to live with the Democratic City Committee. I don't have to live with
Whose
them.
swamp is he in? Is he in a swamp?
No, there's no such thing as a swamp. He's
Like,
on an island all by
Dominic, he's on-
himself.
that's what I thought.
All by himself. And I just, well, it's a funny thing. That if they ever learn, when I say they, the Southeast Asians, they lost a great one in Camp K. He would have been great for schools. But as soon as they quit fighting like the Irish did back in my younger days, and you kind of divide even in your families, as soon as they can get along, we're going to have all kinds of Asian
Right.
city councilors and school committee people. I'm surprised more Southeast Asian people aren't running for the schools, because it's a very big issue, important issue to the Cambodian people, Vietnamese people, Laotian people, and then Indian people. They all left Lowell. All of them, the ones that have my doctors, my two doctors, Rodney Dangerfield, my doctor Umbabe, whatever he says.
Yeah.
My two doctors, I got two, one for diabetes and one for my dental stuff, is PATEL. We used to have 200 of them at the top of Lowell High School graduation. Patel all the way down. You'd see a couple of hundred of them. Now you're lucky to see one or two.
Wow.
They moved to Westford. They just moved away, because there's nothing more important for those people than school. We're lucky. If you look at the demographics of Lowell High, haven't looked at the books, don't know anything except my estimates. Right now, the high school's got about 3,200 kids. I'll say about 45%, maybe closer to 50%, are all Hispanic people. 29% are Southeast Asians, 29% white, 8% black. Most of our blacks are from Africa or other islands and all go on to great schools. They're doing fine. We have about 1,500 kids. We need a trade school, and we need, in Lowell, this is what you need. You need another trade school in Lowell, and then you need a middle school somewhere, I don't know where the land is, a large middle school. And then in Centerville, if we did this, we would have neighborhood schools. We could do it. But without that, it's a tough thing. Maybe go to a hybrid. But we got to think about busing. I'm telling you, put busing at the top of your list, because they're going to end up suing us. That's all they do anyways.
Right.
They'll end up having us in court. We have to find a way. There's a way. Some type of hybrid. call it a neighborhood school, and the schools that are having issues with it, let's buy them 3 buses for the school. So we have to do something with busing and food. So this is basically, like me, I'm just telling you some of the things that are really concerning to me.
Okay, so here's.
Yep.
I'll put you guys up on the screen so you know what's going on here.
It's okay.
Go to this guy. Okay, now you're back up again. So what happened was, we have a brand spanking new connection through Tewksbury. So Brian Dorrington and Jason Marshall came by the other day, last week as a matter of fact, last Thursday. Came by, reconfigured this computer, and put some new stuff in the computer, and now we send the signal to YouTube and the signal to Tewksbury. And every public access outfit can go and grab a signal off of Tewksbury's connectivity. So, off Tewksbury. So, Gary Muse, Ronnie Camelli from Tingsboro. Ronnie was chit-chat back and forth, and we were going to do our own connectivity here. And then Brian Dorrington and Jason came in and we talked about it, and they said, no, we'll grab it out in Tewksbury and you'll be good from just bounce it off. Send it to us and we'll distribute it to everybody. So today's the first day that we're on for 2 hours in Tingsboro,
Yep.
Dracut. We've been on for 2 hours in Tewksbury since last Thursday. And Chensford's sending it to their tech people to fix. So I got to talk to Evelyn about that. And Lowell's going to be just taking 1 hour. Lowell continues to take off of YouTube. So that's it. So I've been behind the scenes a lot of.
So if we
Work.
weren't on for the last 25 minutes, it's
So
not.
you were on for. We lost connectivity this morning.
Yeah.
What happened? I don't know.
Yeah.
YouTube never quit. YouTube just kept going. And then when I had to restart this program I use called Wirecast, it disconnected from YouTube. It's a way too big of a story. It's all set now.
It's okay.
So
Now in Dracut, Tewksbury, and I know Dracut is Tewksbury and Tingsboro live like we are in Dracut?
Yeah.
Okay, because I know some tape it, then they.
Tewksbury.
Like Chelmsford tapes it, right? They don't go on live, right?
Everybody goes live.
Oh, okay. I thought. Okay.
Everybody goes live.
All right.
Chelmsford, they like to do yoga, and this. I don't know what. Tom, the days of people actually telling you the truth for what's going on, going out the window, they just make up a story. Here, tell them this. Well, why don't you just tell me the truth? So
Yeah,
I just emailed Evelyn Thorne about Chelmsford this morning, and Evelyn can be a tiger when she wants to be. So Evelyn will get it.
Sure.
Evelyn will fix Chelmsford.
Sure.
Back
sure.
to you guys.
yeah, but
Right.
when we're here, like it's 26 minutes past the hour right now.
Yeah.
And say John had a minute of it. We went 25 minutes talking here. It was like practice anyways. Even if it's not out there, to me, it doesn't matter.
Right.
I should put on my Facebook. That's what I think I got to learn how to do. Put your Facebook on live on a show like this and send it out that way, and then someone else could send it out. But, Tom, I'm just happy about Lowell right now. I think going off the last city council meeting and the schools going and telling them, hey, you can't be cutting $4 million for this. We just can't have it. We need you to go back to last year's amount and just leave it there. I think that's the way it's going to come back to them. But again, I know I asked Eric, are we going to, are our property taxes going up? And they're going up. And so my estimate, I'm going to say, is going to be 5% at least.
Bobby,
At least.
It's not going to be good for any elected official.
No, I know, because they're going to look at schools and not love them like I do, or love them like Bill Topia said at one time. I give George, Kula Harris credit for everything. Well, let me tell you, Bill Topia was a man that just preached this. Don't lose your city. Don't lose your schools. That's why he ran for school committee. He was on the school committee with me for 2 years. And that's all you'd hear out of them. We have to improve the school system.
Well, with property taxes
Especially-
going up and the manager's contract, those are going to be two key issues for non-incumbents, and they better cash in on them and
Bingo, you
use
hit the
them.
nail right on the head.
Huh? What you want?
$1,000 a day for,
But I'm saying to you,
mandated people, it's not $1,000 a day, okay. He doesn't work weekends. So for the days the guy works, he gets $1,000 a day. And that doesn't include the perks. Whatever the perks might be, they're secret perks. Because they say, well, because the common question you would ask as an elected official, what's the total liability to this community for this individual to work here? Now, that means everything, the guy's or the gal's phone, car, gas, insurance, means everything. In Lowell, they go like, well, you didn't mean the car, did you? You didn't mean his free health insurance, did you? Look, how much is the city paying to keep this guy? And no, not one city councilor can tell me how much is paying to keep Tom Golden. People say, oh, you don't like Tom Golden. I hold no emotion for the guy. He's a great salesman. I just don't, my personal opinion is, he's not a manager.
but that's not the point, if you like them or not like them, John. It's the point is that they should answer your question. What are they hiding? I mean, what's there to hide? I mean, Eric will tell you the truth. But
Eric
I mean,
will-
I think
Yeah,
I think
well-
Robinson would tell you the truth. I just don't get why they.
Eric,
why-
but you have to dig to get it. You
But
shouldn't
again,
have
if
to.
you're a non-incumbent, these are the two issues you should be banking. I saw in
Yes,
Drake at an upset.
And guess what about this whole deal? Who's watching? How many people are watching, are paying attention? Not many.
Oh, no,
How
no.
many people are voting? They're not, you know.
But I think people paid attention in Drake because somebody took an issue, which was a false issue, and made it regarding the trash fee, and he banked on it, and it's still going. We're going to get the trash fee no matter what. And he was smart enough to use that as an issue in the election, and he won, meaning John Plummer. So you could see this, if people are paying attention, even if 5% of the voters are paying attention, they come out and vote. You could see some upsets, you know?
That's why we had a very big show, Tom. I think you were, I'm not sure who the host was, but Eric Gitcher was
Yeah,
there.
we had about 1,000, over 1,000.
Yeah, and we asked them, we said, hey, are we going to pay more taxes, especially this year? And of course. He said, when have you ever seen them go down? You've
Right.
never seen them go down. And where do they find money? Where? Homes, businesses. It's the only place they can get it. And we'll see.
There's one more that's hidden here. So, Bob,
Yeah,
can you read them?
yeah, I can read. Good morning, Mr. Tarmey. Hope all is well. Looking forward to your next visit, Jay. Thanks, Jay, and I know he's doing good, buddy. We should demand qualified people. Respectfully, age shouldn't matter. Maybe term limits would be a good way to start. Wishful thinking. I'm for term limits, but it's just something that's never going to pass, I think. And the last one is, I hope the people in this mismanaged state realize that politicians will find the money to fix problems they've created. And
And
it's
the latest one, I just pushed it up there,
Yeah.
Bob, at the bottom.
respectfully, Mr. Hoey, what city are you living in? We have an empty downtown, a big homeless problem, a high school way over budget, etc., etc. Well, I know where I'm living. I know drugs are a big issue in my life. I think the more we fight drugs, the better off the city will be. But no one wants to come to Lowell. They're afraid of Lowell. They're afraid to go to Lowell High School. Children are afraid in the Lowell High School. I know where I live. The problem I have is, are we moving in the direction I want it to move in? We definitely are. No doubt in my mind.
Can you elaborate on that,
Yeah.
Bob? Like,
Yeah.
kids are afraid to go low?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, is there an issue with bullying? Was there an issue with?
There's an issue with people, there's not enough discipline, number one.
All right.
You know, you can call kids, you know, if you're the leader of a high school, and it's just my opinion, folks, okay? We've had too many people that wanted to try to run the high school, and all we did is lose them. Jay Lang's sister, for one. She could have run a high school grade. Why don't she get hired? She's in Mexico or New Mexico now. She left.
Right.
We just have that big issue. That's what it is.
Right.
Nonprofits have a play in it. I think there's too much influence coming from CTI, for instance. You know, I could get into a whole show about that issue, but we have to get the hands out. People elect the school committee, let them do their job. You don't need to be kicking the superintendent's door down for jobs or putting any type of pressure on them. There's other nonprofits, not just CTI. I have a problem with Project Learn on some of the people that's on their panel or their board. I have issues with some of the people because too much influence in the school system. If you want the influence, run for a seat. Real simple. You want to come out and do things, instead of doing them behind the scenes, run for the school committee. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to throw out everything that I can talk about, even some secret squirrel meeting stuff.
That's smart, that's what you're going to do. You're going to bank on this stuff, and that's what these incumbents, non-incumbents have to do in the council race. With all the stuff that's going on, like I say, if taxes are going up, the manager's contract, people are listening. I think I saw it in Drake, people are listening.
Well, I'll say this then. This is probably my most powerful statement I'll say today. I'm running for the Lowell School Committee at large, and I'm running to back Daniel McFadden. I am going to tell all my friends to vote for Daniel McFadden. You get 2 votes. Vote for Danielle, and of course, vote for me. And I'm going to defend her. Just the fact that she came out and run. I thought I heard talk that she was going to run for state rep at one time,
She's
Tom.
going to run against not run against Rodney in that Rodney Elliott race. That when Tom Golden became the manager, that's when remember I forget the girl's name. It was the 3-way race, and yeah, she was one of them that was thinking of running. But she has a good job down at the chamber. Her kids were younger then. You're talking 3 or 4 years ago. And the school committee, let's face it, it's local. She can be, she's in the area. She has a damn good job. I heard her party was unbelievably packed, so.
Yeah, and when I look at her, and I don't know her, I met her at the Irish party. That's the first time I ever met her. I don't look at her when she says, I have children in the system. That never really hit a chord with me anyways, because I have grandchildren in it. I have nieces and nephews in it. I have friends, kids that are in it. So you don't need children. K-Stocklosa never had children. Yeah. I'm not sure Regina Fedicani never probably had children. I don't think Connie Martin had children. But these people have done a great job. They've done a great job. But sometimes it's time to go. And I'm hoping Daniel McFadden wipes them out. Wipes one of them out, that's for sure. And I'm hoping I can be number 2.
So you want to talk about that rumor I told you about, or you want to wait till Rodney gets here?
Go ahead.
We got 2 hours.
No, go ahead.
So last night, we can talk about it. So last night I was somewhere, and it was brought to my attention that Rodney Elliott's party last week, the rumor going around at Rodney Elliott's party is that Ed Kennedy is not going to run again. And now I'm trying to piece it together today. I will, but I don't know if Dave Nagle's going to run for his old seat, and Vanna Howard. What?
Nagle's done.
Okay, well, can I talk?
Go right ahead. Don't give me that vote.
Nagle's done. Okay, all right, he's done. So he's going to run for either rep or senator. I'm not sure what it is. So that's the rumor around. We'll see if Rodney heard anything. When it was at his party, supposedly this talk was going on. So it'd be interesting to see.
And I told you.
Right now, I'm pushing for city council candidates for every single district.
Yeah.
We need this thing about let's get somebody to run for state rep. That's next year. Yeah. Next year at this time, we're pushing for people to run for Congress, Senate. No, Senate. I don't think we have Senate next year, but Congress, state reps, state Senate. We're pushing the people to run for these offices. Eddie Kennedy, he's my age. Hey, maybe he's going to hang it up. I don't know, but.
Well, Tom brought up.
Going back to term limits,
never going to happen.
I think Phil Shea said it. It's term limits at every election. People want to go and vote. If people want to go and vote the same people in, but there really is term limits every election, right, Bobby?
Yeah, but let's stay on what your rumor was all about,
all right?
Right?
Good.
All right, just because you get me thrown off here if we go down term limits. I just got off the phone within the past week. I think it was 3 days ago, maybe 4, that I got off the phone with Ed Kennedy. I call him every now and then just to see what's going on. I forgot the question I called him on was the millionaire's tax, and I never got to ask him why that happened, But he's going to be around in my eyes. He might have a couple of rotor cuff problems, his shoulders and stuff, but you're not losing Ed Kennedy. Not losing him until that high school is completed. And when we need
Well,
extra
the rate
money.
that high school's going,
Wait a
but it's
minute,
going to be another 10 years.
Wait a minute. Yeah, that's true. Hey, listen, there's all kinds of bad issues. Like the 22 building there, they might
Right,
have a
right.
big issue
Wow.
there. And we can't count out the money. We might get help from Ed Kennedy
Yeah.
down at the state level. He's helped a lot of people out so far, but we can't keep going to him thinking he's going to pull us out of all these holes. But
Right, right.
listen,
So your thoughts, this is a false rumor?
I think it's a false rumor for now. Yeah, there's
All
no
right.
doubt about it.
All right.
He just put
I'm
in.
sure we'll know shortly. You know, it's, you know.
The past few months, he's put in over 50 pieces of legislation. I
Yeah.
mean, Ed Kennedy's a mover and a shaker for Lowell. Who else we got down in State House?
What do you mean? Is what the rep?
You got what do you think
Rodney,
they got?
Colleen,
Yeah, what do they got?
Howard.
You think they got a lot of power?
Well, Colleen
none.
doesn't because she doesn't go along with the crowd. That's
Yeah.
right. You know.
Well, that's from Drake, and I'm talking Lowell. We have some that are probably in a mop closet down there. You know, there's no respect at the state, right? Tommy Goldens, Dave Nagel, gone, you know?
Yeah.
Those two held a lot of weight down there.
Yeah.
But they're gone. So we'll see. I
Wow.
don't even look at that level. I look at local because we're doing okay in Lowell.
John, did you find somebody for District 4 yet?
There's
I know you talked
there's a woman that's
Interested?
I haven't talked to her. I talked to a good friend of mine, Joe Espinola, about her. And there's a
be-
possibility there's a woman
Great.
going to run for it.
She'd
so.
be great.
Great.
I'm telling you, she'd be great.
I
So you know this
understand,
person.
but
I do
we got to pull
know
a
a
plug.
little
There's
bit.
a lot that's got to. I tried to sit down and talk with this gal a couple of times, hasn't happened, and so hey, we'll see.
I'm glad you said
Great.
something. You know why? She just might be watching right now, and I hope she does come to you because some of the issues that she could talk about would get her elected. I know it. I'm from that district. I grew up around St. Anthony's, that whole back central
Same
area.
here. That was the
She
soul.
she definitely could put a dent in that race, without a doubt.
But unfortunately, I think it's controlled by the downtown people. I mean, I'm not saying that rudely to any downtown people, but
that's
you know what I mean?
a lot of truth
It's
in
a-
that.
it's
A lot
like
of
almost
truth in
two
that.
different parts of the district. You know,
a
you
lot
have-
of truth, Tom.
You go all the way into the Drake line almost, Centerville, you know? Centerville, what am I saying? I said
Yeah,
Drake.
District 4 is like any other district. Where I live, we have people that vote, though. My district just helps out Belvedere for sure, because we're in Belvedere now.
Yeah.
What a race that's going to be. But I want to stay in District 4. The big issue in District 4, you're absolutely right. Downtown became a big vote because people, most of the Portuguese people I grew up with moved out to suburbs, just like all my other friends during the white flight session, you know. A lot of people went to New Hampshire. We lost a lot of people. And what you get is renters now, and a lot of them don't vote. They don't vote. So you got to go after the same 6,000 or 7,000 people that vote all the time. That got a job by all these ex-city councilors and the councilors that are on there. You know, the connected people, everybody in the school system's related. Everybody. So when you're running for the school seat, you got to watch out what you say. You know,
Yeah.
but if your heart's in it, the schools is a funny place. Everybody thinks it's an easy seat to win. It's not an easy seat to win.
No,
City council, I lost that 3 times.
yeah.
Why? I think I'm a guy that would have brought up we should drug test every policeman. We should drug test every judge. We should drug test everybody in the DCF department. We should drug test everybody. Prison guards get drug tested.
Funeral directors?
I just say the whole world.
The undertakers, too.
I say the whole world. If you have a job, listen, especially if you can incarcerate somebody. If you can put someone behind bars, I only worked there 20 years, I'm not an expert, but if you can put someone behind bars, you should be drug tested. That's all.
Will any of the candidates running come on the show once summer hits less than 4 weeks? Ever be on vacation, less interested in politics, primary in September? But you make a good point, but officially there are no candidates for city council or school committee. Bobby's talking a good game, and he has very good intentions of running, but you can't officially become a candidate until early June.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm pushing for every district in the city of Lowell, and I'll put the map up now. Let me go back to this guy. I'll put the map up of lovely
I'm going to
Lowell,
reach out to
Massachusetts.
Danielle again and get her on.
And we'll boast about every community. I'm going to close this window here. The backdrop, you can see it's a cloudy day here in lovely Lowell, Massachusetts, looking towards downtown Lowell. But over in Pawtuckaville, if you want to waste your summer and run against Danny Rourke, please do. Now's the time to think about it.
You
okay?
said waste your summer?
You waste your time, yeah.
You can't beat Danny Rourke.
All right, so,
If you want to waste your summer, you think Danny Rourke's
Absolutely.
doing a lousy job. Okay, I mean, I will chastise Danny for the extension of the manager's contract, the amount of money we pay the manager. I'll chastise him for that. But other than that, I think Danny Rourke's done a fantastic job.
great mayor,
So I
great
think
mayor.
that to run against Danny Rourke, you'd be wasting your summer. District 2, Corey Robinson.
Wasting your time.
Hard-working guy. He's got himself in a lot of trouble in the last couple of years. He swam his way out of it. Nothing happened. Walked away. Nothing happened to my memory. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, he was found, yeah.
So, if you think Corey Robinson's been doing a lousy job for Centerville, run against him.
And waste your time. I just got to throw it in there because same thing with Danny. You're wasting your time. Corey, you're wasting
Now,
your time.
over here in Belvedere,
Let's just go back to Danny's district for 1 second.
went
Yeah.
back to District 1.
Just,
yes.
I just want,
This is
can
the
you think of
ballpark.
anybody, can you think of anybody that would even think about running against him over in District 1, then going over to 2, running against Corey? Have you heard any names of anybody that might come out and run? I haven't. No.
You're not
Yeah.
touching the road.
No,
man.
but you can't pull papers until June 1st.
Right,
Until
exactly.
I don't-
June 7th or something, yeah.
June 7th.
Yeah, whatever,
Thank you
yeah.
for the correction.
Well, no, it's around there, Johnny. I don't,
And then you got to wait till they turn their papers in.
So I think
Right.
we'd agree on early June. So that District 3, which is Belvedere, there's
That-
already 4 people running for the office over there.
yep,
And
that's gonna be fun.
so we'll see what happens there. South Lowell, Kim Scott. I think she's done a fantastic job. Is somebody going to run against her? You bet your bippy. There'll be somebody in District 5 who thinks I can do a better job than Kim Scott. I don't think you can. But good luck to you. District 4, that's the district that I live in. Wayne Janess, nice guy, lackluster performance. Went to a neighborhood meeting last week. He's not there. I just don't think the guy has the. We could use a stronger spirit in this district, and I'll leave it at that. Because I've met him a couple of times. A nice guy, easy to talk to, just doesn't have the chutzpah.
So he wasn't at the neighborhood meeting, so that might go back to, I had,
Yeah, well, Kim-
I had heard some talk he might not run again too, so there's an open seat. There could be an open seat there. So,
The neighborhood meeting that I went to, Kim Scott was there and Eric Gitchie
yeah,
was there.
yeah,
And there were about 20 of my neighbors there.
right.
Does Paul Belay live in 4?
Yeah,
He does?
yeah.
Yeah, see, that's a person that,
Well, he ran and got beat.
no, I know,
Yeah,
he got
yeah,
beat. Listen,
I think Paul's out of gas.
Yeah, he
I
is.
see Paul, a lot of political parties, and gave him a couple of hints to come on the show.
no, but I'm just saying you
think
would
he's out,
need
yes.
someone at least with that much
Paul's
recognition.
a really nice man.
Knows
and
a lot of
He should have
people.
won, but he didn't. And then moving on to so now going to District 6. This is Sakari Chow's district.
Hey, District 4, excuse me, John, that's downtown, right?
Yeah, District 4.
District store starts
Oh,
at Low
listen,
Connector, goes right through downtown
Centerville.
Lowell.
All right,
and
great.
goes-
Tuckerville.
So I have to say this, listen, we have Hillary Clark that lives in District 4. Hillary,
Yeah, but I
if-
thought you said she had no interest. I think
yeah,
you saw it.
that's what she says, but like I said, like
Yeah,
John
you
said,
can never
the
change your
papers
mind.
come.
You can change your
Hillary, I'm telling you, you'd win. You should run for city council.
Hmm.
And you, either one, even for schools, you'd win this time around. People have to, we lost a good one there. We lost a real good one there.
Yeah, one term,
And,
it's just
yeah,
too
she
bad.
got beat by Del Rossi.
Yeah,
Del Rossi.
yeah, I can't believe it. You
Oh,
talk
I
about-
do. I can.
Well, I know what
believe
you're
it.
saying because of the district. But
No,
yeah.
no, it
No,
was
because of Corey Robinson. the
Corey
district, yeah.
Robinson was hot.
Del Rossi never would have won it. Yeah, right,
And,
exactly.
well, Lee Gitcher was a big part of that election too, though. Yeah, she had a lot of help, and Hillary just.
All right, so moving right
Yep,
along
go
here,
ahead.
Bobby.
Yeah, Hillary Clark, though. Go ahead, John.
Sakari Chow, how well do you think he's seated right now? I don't think
Be
that
tough to beat him.
I think
It would be
that-
tough.
I think there's no more wind in his sails. I think he's done.
It matters. Does he have a person running? Is there someone
Well, like
running?
John said, there's a name out there of Justin Thomas, I think his name is. But again, papers aren't out yet, so I hear.
then we're going into District 7, Paul Rethier. Cadillac of a guy, I like Paul Rethier, but he has a challenger already.
Yeah.
And again, there's no, I mean, every city council isn't even an official candidate because you can't get signatures until early June. So that's 7. And then out at 8, we got Johnny Dakota, that's his, the district he represents, the Upper Highlands. And we got Cisco Maldonado, he's running against him. And Cisco's an interesting guy. I've sat with him a couple
Are you
of
sure
times.
that's the one that's running in District 8? I
Against
thought
Dakota.
Sixto from Enterprise Bank, are we talking the same
No.
person?
No, he's
Okay,
not.
sorry.
He-
I can
Sixto,
get that
that's-
name confused. Go ahead.
Sixto.
He's running at large.
I should say Francisco Maldonado.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cisco, retired cop.
all right.
He's running
Yeah,
against
so-
Dakota. He's running against Dakota.
He's running against the cop.
That's a race. That'll be a race.
Yeah.
They gotta work
And
there.
then citywide, we got Rita's running for reelection. Vesna's having a campaign party, so I'm confident he's running for reelection. And we got Sixto, the Jesus, the
Yep.
banker.
Yep.
And while we're at it, Enterprises,
Let's,
they're
let's,
going to lay off over 125.
365 people, I heard.
please, let's not forget.
No, the front page of the.
Oh, wasn't that number was out?
Excuse me, gentlemen.
Go ahead.
Please,
Go
let's not forget the name Eric Gitcha, citywide. You
Yeah,
didn't
ci-
mention him. You didn't mention him.
Eric Gitche, he's running for citywide, yep.
Yeah, and there's some movement going to happen in that at-large race. In my opinion, you're going to see someone fall out of the top 3. Without a doubt, you're going to see one of them. I think Vesna's in trouble.
This is today's front page.
Yeah, you're right,
Notice,
John. 125. Yeah.
Rockland Trust is laying off a bunch of people, and that's only the first phase. And they're saying they're going to keep.
And it sounds like they're closing. They're
all
going to
the
close Palmer
branches
Street
open.
down. Yeah.
Say again.
Palmer Street office. They're laying most of the people off there. They're probably going to close that office down. But
You know,
Don't know. Can't
do we know
say.
when the official takeover is? John, do you know?
I did not read the article by Melanie,
I did, but I didn't
Melanie
catch
Gilbert.
the official.
but they have to. The reason they got out is if you're laying people off, you have to tell the state. I think 90 days in advance.
Did you read that? Yeah, I read
I
that.
think it's 90 days.
Yeah.
So this is June. So July, August, September.
Yeah.
See you in September.
Well, like you talk about government, there's probably a lot of waste in the banks too, right?
Well, no, there's redundancy. It's kind of like,
Were you on the board of directors of a bank? You on it?
yeah.
I thought you were.
So what happens is, look, when we buy a funeral home, I don't need any of their cars. I don't need them. Because my cars are, not bragging, but the cars we have are in better shape than when we buy most of the funeral homes that we have.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
So we have to season them out. And when you buy a bank, what do you need another loan to? I already have a loan department. I already have human resource department. I already have all these people working for me.
Yeah.
What do I need to buy another human resource department for? So there's some
Exactly.
duplication of services. And the Enterprise Bank employees that got to my ear were told, everyone's staying. And I'm there, they're lying, sweetheart, they're lying.
They were dreaming.
They're
Yeah.
lying to you. Sorry, but that's my personal opinion, backed up by just my own personal brain.
John, I don't know about you. You know, one of I think one of your lines is usually who buys radios now. I'm saying who goes into a bank now? I mean, I do most of my banking.
I do.
You still go into a bank?
Yeah, I love going into the
Well, I do, but it seems you can make a deposit now at an ATM. You can. The other day, I didn't realize I had this feature. I got a check in the mail. I put it on my phone. I deposit it from my phone. You don't have to go in.
Yeah, my kids do that.
I'm saying, when I go in these banks, I'm Salem 5 out on Roger Street. There's nobody in there. It seems I've been to my political
Now, how
counters
did
at
you
the end.
pick Salem? Salem 5 has been trying to get me to do business with them, and they got the wrong first name. Is that Salem, New Hampshire, or Salem, Mass?
Salem, Mass.
Now, what?
You're thinking there's a Salem
I-
co-op.
Well, I understand, but I don't know where Salem 5 is headquartered. So,
Right.
why did you go to Salem?
Okay.
I mean, you're a drinketeer.
No, start out with my dad. My father was with the
Oh.
local cooperative bank, which then became Sage Bank, which then became the Salem 5, and it just simply stayed there. And that's how my father was in the local co-op for years. And then I think it went to Sage, and then it went to Salem 5. And I have great service there, so.
You know,
Okay.
we were doing so good
Bobby,
on
where's your primary bank?
TD Bank, but I like Dundalk.
Now, how did you pick TD?
Credit Union. My wife's been at Fleet and then
Oh, your
Fleet
wife
bec-
picked it.
Yeah, she
I
runs
understand
the books.
completely.
She runs the books, but I have my own account, a savings account at Dundalk. That's the place I think we should all be at.
And
It's a
who's
good
your bank,
credit-
John?
We
Credit
got,
union.
we do, Ellen likes Gene Doc.
Okay, everybody likes Gene Doc.
I got Lowell 5 Enterprise, Tewksbury Federal. Once we went out to Tewksbury, we got Tewksbury Federal Credit Union, we joined that out there, and we
Right.
got TD Bank.
Wow, so you got a lot.
But TD
Yeah.
Bank is, whether they're going to close the branch next to the funeral home or not, I have no idea.
Yeah.
If TD Bank, and TD Bank tight-lipped, I've,
Oh, there's talk of that? They're going to close there?
yeah, so they're closing branches, and like you said, Tom, less and less people go to branches, but I want to do business with a bank where I can go in if I have a trouble with somebody. And if I have trouble, I want to go in and sit down and talk to somebody, or
Yeah.
call somebody on the phone
Yeah.
that I know.
Yeah.
I don't want press one for dance music.
And that happened to me about 2 months ago. I had a problem with one of my accounts. I walked into, I knew the branch manager, talked to him, we sat in his office and we straightened it out.
Isn't that nice? You can
Yeah.
walk in and talk to
Yeah.
them.
You know, Tom, did you notice, I'm the host, but John's the producer, and boy, does he give a lot of his time for us on this, for the city of Lowell, believe me.
He does, he
But
does.
Bobby, it's
Did
my
you
hobby.
did you notice how he went through that election thing? And if you looked, he went through everything because he wants to get city councilors out. He wants to get people, young ladies, come on out, right? But when he got to my District 3, we skimped right over it. We didn't talk about it, right? And then-
District 3?
Hold on, my district, when
He-
you,
he
when you.
talked about it. He talked about it. He said,
Ah, he
there's four
said District
candidates.
3, that's it, boom, no talk about it.
No, he
because
said there's
it's-
4 good candidates over there. I heard him.
Okay.
Rewind the tape, John.
But then listen, well, there's a replay, and then when you watch when he got to the
Tommy,
citywide,
will you give him some tissue?
no, when he got to the citywide race, I
Okay,
went.
Mr. Crybaby,
I
you
want
wanna
to
talk
say
about
more.
District 3?
Just a little bit. No, I'm going to talk about the at-large race a little
Wait a
bit.
second, we got an important text just came in here.
Here we go.
So,
You
can
have
you
to
read
wait.
this one, Mr. Hoey? Oh, wait,
You
I
have
gotta make it fit on
you
the
have to
screen.
wait until June to run. It's going to be real tough to get your name out there in only 3 months, especially the 3 months where most people are thinking sun and fun. Seems kind of rigged. Bart, yeah, you got that, Bart. You're right on the money, buddy. Yeah.
Everything goes on hold July
know
4th
you
to
already.
Labor Day.
Listen.
right?
Bobby wants
We
to
don't,
talk about
number one,
Belvedere.
I want to say something about Bart real quick. Bart, in the city of Lowell, the same people have been voting for over 50, 60 years. We don't get new voters. You got 75, 80,000 maybe registered voters, and you're lucky to get out 10,000. It's usually about probably 8,000. People don't vote. It's the same people over and over. But District 3, I'm going to skip over that now because there's going to be plenty of talk about that district. They're
So
going to
skip
show
it now?
city-wide race, the at-large race. There's people
Oh,
that. are-
at-large.
Yeah, at-large. I wanted to just say, there's people, a good-sized group, trying to get rid of an Everett Getcha. Believe me, there is. They're out there working and trying to find people that are going to change their mind. Good luck. You're wasting
Not
your
gonna
time.
happen. Not gonna
Wasting
happen.
your time.
Not going to happen.
Rita, because she gave the contract extension, she wrote that motion just like I did for George Sapasaris. I gave him a 3-year deal with a motion. It passed, too. My end passed.
But Bobby,
But let me just finish.
All right.
That's going to affect her a little bit. She might fall to third. But my favorite Democrat in Lowell, and I'm not Democrat, I'm unenrolled, and this show, most of us, I think we lean a little bit heavy to the right. That's how I
A little
feel.
bit?
Well, that's how I feel. And you got a lot of people don't want to come on the show for that reason. But my favorite Democrat, Young Ju Chow, she's for 6-2. 6-2, I think.
6-2 to Jesus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's for him. See? She's for him. And that woman works very hard, very young, retired. She's unbelievable. She put more housing in this city than the housing authority. How's that? Because that place is another issue.
So I heard,
comment, they don't like Dave Nangle.
yeah.
Dave Nangle.
Everybody has a choice, you know.
Don't need this recycled crook to represent our,
He served his
I
time,
have
did
one
his, he
thing.
did his, let's,
Hey, we all have
who has
bad
no
habits.
sin throw the first
Hey,
stone. Anyway,
My
now,
biggest
District
thing with
3.
that, though, with Dave Nagel,
right.
I'll just say this, send in a name who you think might beat him.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tom.
So anyways, I just want, that District 3 race, I heard Finn on the radio 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I heard Gendron on the radio this past week.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the race. Those two, I can't see,
Well, that's
either one of
why-
them's gonna win it, I think.
And that's why,
They both shop. Yeah,
Well-
and they're young, and they came across so good on the radio.
I'm for
I know,
Danny
again.
Finn. I'm for
Oh, I know
Finn
you are, but I'm
anyways.
just saying, either one, I can't see the other two going anywhere in that race.
You know what you see, what you listen, I get a lot of people bothering me also, not bothering me, but talking to me. And a lot of them will say, Mr. Hoey, he's from Centerville. His father was, Mickey Finn, no doubt about it, one of the
Right.
best human beings
Best,
you'll ever
one of the
meet.
best, yep.
Yeah, but Danny's been in Belvedere for over 20-something years.
Yeah, yeah.
Got two beautiful children, great
Yeah,
children.
yeah.
And he's done a lot for Lowell High School, and he does a lot for the city of
But
Lowell.
that's going to
and-
be the race, them
and
two.
he's got an unbelievable
I think it's going to go down
family.
to those two in that race, there's no doubt
Well,
in my mind.
that there, I'll just say that, in my opinion, Corey should run citywide like he did last
Yeah,
time.
'cause he's
Uh,
not gonna win.
That's what he should do. He
That's
should
why-
run. And again, you got till June to sign up, so
Bobby,
don't
we're
worry
gonna go to
about it.
break.
Yes, so thank you
Great
for
time.
watching and listening, and stay tuned for
We'll be
Atty
back in
Santos and
about 2
Karen
minutes.
Cassella.
Thanks.
Good morning, welcome to City Life. I'm Bob Hoey, the host today. Karen Cassella
Good morning.
sitting next to me, a new Nana, or what is
Nani.
it? Nani. Congratulations. And next to her, we got Atty Santos, one of my favorite cops in my whole lifetime. He's the son of Herky Santos. Am I correct? You are the son.
That is correct.
Yeah,
The
Herc,
one and only Herky.
the Herc was the best, believe me. And it's funny, I work for John and I drive Hercules almost all the time, the Herc. But I think of your dad quite a bit because you're working for Cameron right now. So is she a mean boss, by the way? Is she hard to work
She's the best.
for?
Are you kidding me?
Okay.
But
She brings in the cookies and everything like she does?
Absolutely. I think I gained a
my
couple
wife wants
pounds.
to go back to work. She's heard so many good things about her.
Next Atty, you get Tom Bomil, obviously, he's a host.
Let me just get this right out
Yeah.
now because I'll forget. Happy 82nd birthday to my brother Bill. I know watches the show every week, so I know he watches this. He's in Lowell, so he'll be seeing this at some point. So happy 82nd birthday to my brother Bill. Yeah.
And then
Don't forget.
Of course, John McDonough's behind the cameras, the producer, giving his time to the city of Lowell. And Ned Tarmey, I hope you're watching, because one of his favorites, Karen Cassella, is sitting here.
Hi, Ned.
Hi, Ned. We talked to him last night. He's doing fine. His legs are a little weak still, but he's 86. I mean, come on. He's lucky to be alive. Hardworking.
What he
dude,
went
though.
through,
Yeah.
he's lucky to be
yeah,
alive.
He's very lucky to be alive. But, so let's start with Atty. Atty, tell me what it's like, really, working for Karen Cassella.
A day in the life at the registry. That's what you're looking for?
Yeah, there you go.
It's great. We got a lot of new things coming down the pike here. We're going to have brand new computers coming in. We're demoing some new software. We got some new interns coming in, which Karen can tell you a little bit more about. So a little bit of summer help, which will work on some projects. We can work on some projects, get things done that we couldn't get to, you know what I mean? It's
Well,
kind
your
of crazy.
talents, to me, one, you're a lawyer,
Yeah.
and two, if I remember, you worked for the schools, right?
Oh, yeah.
And two, you know a lot about high-tech
Yeah.
computers.
Yeah, I spent 10 years in Lowell as a tech integration specialist, helping the teachers across the 29 schools. Then I went over to Chelmsford and I covered the 4 elementary schools. So I have about 13 years' experience with tech integration.
So let me ask you this,
Done it all.
because I have a 14-year-old, and he's telling me how kids are taking paper clips, shoving them inside their Chromebooks,
Yes,
and
yep.
burning them?
Yes, yep.
Is
it
that
sparks
true?
it. That's absolutely true.
Oh, my God. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Wow.
that is what's happening. They're seeing it on TikTok, so it's kind of spreading like wildfire, but it's extremely dangerous. The school districts have been sending out messages to the parents and so forth to notify them, of what's going on, to help hopefully prevent any dangerous injuries from the students.
Yeah, my
And it's
grandson brought that up,
destroying,
Tom.
Yeah,
Brought it up, he
I didn't
said.
hear about this one. That's a new one. Yeah.
so,
Wow.
and unfortunately, obviously, it's destroying the computers. So that's another issue.
And even what I heard was just when sometimes they'll blow up, or sometimes they just turn smoke,
Yeah,
and the
exactly.
smoke's very dangerous.
Wow.
It's something,
Yeah.
it's a big issue, though, imagine that.
No, I know, but why would they do that?
Don't know, it's
I mean-
craziness.
What these kids
They
do
see it on
nowadays.
TikTok, and
Right.
it's like goes viral,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I know.
So we got Rodney coming in soon. Is there any way I can influence him to help the register at all as far as finances
She'll
or
take
being?
anything you can get.
Well, is it Rodney? Because I can call Ed Kennedy. I can, get people to start calling him saying, hey, because the worst thing I think for your department, and I've been thinking about your place for a long time, since 2018.
Right.
And I think it's what happened to me in the prisons. 500 inmates out in the yard, and it's me and you watching them. And all we got is a pencil.
Right.
It's just understaffed. That's
Right.
what I always felt about the register.
All your funding comes out of the Secretary of State.
Secretary
It
of
does,
State,
absolutely,
yes.
it does.
Yeah.
That's right, Tom.
But
Way back, it was probably a separate, the registries were probably all one.
Well, we
entity.
were county at
County,
one
county,
point.
some
Some are
Yeah,
still under the county.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Believe
So
it or
there's some
not.
legislation to try to bring them all under the state.
It would make sense. Yeah.
Well, the point I'm trying to make is what I seen, I'm pro-union, I was in a big union, 5,000 people, and Andy Rourke was one of our leaders back in the day where ASME was, and they got me my beautiful pension, they got me all kinds of things. But I seen you as a small union that was just getting picked apart for years, and down to almost nothing. And then now I know you got him for help, which will bring you probably 6 people. He'll equal about 5 or 6 people for you, only because, well, for a lot of reasons.
Right. Oh, no,
A,
definitely.
to me, and I don't know Artie that well, and it's only because of who his father is that I'm excited about you hiring him.
Right.
Because I know what his father was like, and I think father like son. That's how I feel about life. And so with that all said, is there anything I can do, like, because I'll drive Ed Kennedy crazy, he's a senator, can he help you in any way, shape, or form? Can Rodney or can the other state reps help you?
Right. Well, I'm sure they could help us, and with getting more money so that we can have a little bit more in the budgets to hire people. I do think that could be a big help for us. We do have 9 employees. The problem becomes, summer's coming, vacations. Right now, it's slow, right? It's slower than the norm because interest rates are high. There's not a lot of inventory out there, but we're still actively working. It's still busy enough, especially for our 9 employees, and almost to a point that I'm jumping on doing e-files. I'm covering over at Registered Land. Artie's helping out with the computers, helping answer questions for some of the girls that aren't sure how to take a document. So it becomes, could we use 2 more employees? Probably, yes.
Yeah.
Even though it's not that busy. I think that's what the state looks at. Well, the numbers aren't that high, but we have work coming in. People have breaks to take, there's not.
Vacations, we're
Right,
really
there's no
in tough
coverage.
positions
These
for the
people have been there
vacations.
30-something years.
Yeah.
They have 6 weeks vacation. How do you
Hey, Tommy.
staff, the office?
Yeah, and Karen, almost every state agency is understaffed, undermanned. A lot of overtime being dealt out, all state, I know the prison guards, all kinds of overtime.
Right.
Because they don't have the right amount of people working there anymore.
Right,
know?
and
But-
in this field, you have to train them. It's not a job that it's just a data entry. They have to understand those documents that are coming in.
Your
So-
field,
Karen, would it ever come to the point where you'd have to maybe shut down 2 or 3 hours a day? I mean, people still working in there, but you wouldn't.
No, not right now, no.
'Cause
No,
I've heard of
'cause-
situations like that where
Right.
that sure is like up my alley.
right, yeah, no.
Yeah.
You
I
know-
mean, I will say, Artie and I, we had to go to an event yesterday.
Yeah.
So there were the 2 girls that are in Registered Land. I just told them if there's something that came in, I'm not here, and Shauna, the supervisor there, wasn't in. She had a doctor's appointment, so I said, tell them they'll have to wait if you don't understand. I don't want it to go on wrong. So,
I got a Rodney Elliott.
Welcome, Rod. Say
Yeah,
Rodney
I'm just going to say Rodney
Rodney.
Elliott just walked in. and
Morning.
Before you came in, I was asking Karen if there's anything Rodney Elliott or Ed Kennedy can do to help her, maybe get a staff member.
John had
too.
me outside, and as soon as I heard state rep and money, then he said, why don't you go in?
I'll start.
cue, right?
On cue. I was wondering why he was holding me in there.
I'll start one quick one for you, Rodney. I didn't go to your party the other day, but I do.
Delicious.
Well, that's fine, but this is a beautiful thing. I had a phone call from someone, and they said, Bob, how much money can I give Rodney Elliott? And I said, well, I haven't been involved in a while. It might have changed, but I said I would think. A lot. Hold on. I would say, I'm going to, this is word for word. I'm going to say, I think you can give him $1,000 a year. And I'm not sure about that, but I'm pretty sure. I said, so what I would do if I was you is give him $500, hold 500 for when you need something else off him. There you go. That's what I said to the person. So I heard your party was good, though. Good time. You want to say something about
You
it?
want me to tell
Yeah, go
one
ahead.
story about
Oh,
Rodney?
I don't know. Go ahead. Well, go ahead. No,
Well,
Tom.
everyone will know. Everyone will know. I was with somebody last night, and, rumors start. Stupid
Rumors start.
Yeah.
Of course they do.
At your party, there was talk of 2 things, that Ed Kennedy was not going to run for re-election, and it was either Dave Nangle was going to run for his old seat, and Vanna Howard was going to run for the Senate. That's what I heard. I said, I'm going to see Rodney, I'll find out. Was that around at your party?
Look, there were so many people at the party, which is a good thing, but I wasn't really talking to anybody.
And I was on the phone, I was on the phone with Ed
I really-
Kennedy about 4 days
Yeah,
ago.
his room is
Ed's
status.
not going anywhere till that high school's done, believe me, he's not
Like I
going
say, he's going
anywhere.
to be there for 10 more years then.
Yeah, he'll be there, no, I think he's capable though, very capable. You know,
I was on
peop-
the phone with them yesterday, and of course, no mention of that. And
Yeah.
we were just talking about the the governor and the university's decision to continue the continued use of the interconference center as a shelter. This time, it's going to be not an emergency assistance. It's rapid CRS.
Yeah.
Essentially, a shelter, a turnaround, a 30-day shelter, rapid transit.
Well, you know it's our,
Just the Dave
you
Nangle
know it's
thing.
our election.
The Dave Nangle thing, I saw him about a month ago, one of the, one of the board of directors out at the Bridge Club, he's down there working, and he did say that he's thinking about making a comeback, so
Yeah, well,
that's not a rumor, that's fact.
he wouldn't be easy to beat, I'll tell you that, but getting back to Rodney
Okay.
right now, the millionaire's tax, I know when it comes to money, I remember you left the city known as the fiscal watchdog, actually, like a Dick Howe type of guy.
Yes, sir.
Dick Howe Senior. And the millionaire's tax, if I'm wrong, correct me, I think it brought in about $1 billion, and I thought that was supposed to be divvied up in two parts, half for schools and half for infrastructure or MBTA or something like that. And they ended up getting more on that side, about 800 million, and maybe 300 million for schools. What happened with that issue? At the state level, I would say maybe Ed Kennedy, even though I just talked to him, I didn't ask him how he voted on that. But that's something that has me concerned, why we got so little and they got so much.
So you're correct, the fair share tax, or the fair share amendment, known as the millionaire's tax, is a 4% on top of, millionaires' tax bill. So for the last 2 years that it's been in place, the first year, when we developed the budget, we developed the budget with a benchmark of about $1 billion or $1.1 billion. So after the first year came in, we had a surplus, which we just started working on this year, of $1.3 billion. So it has proved to be a good source of revenue for the state, and to me, people making millions and millions of dollars can afford to pay a little bit more to support education and public transit. Two areas of importance, particularly two areas that after the Student Opportunity Act, we haven't been able to fulfill. So, that being said, the split, this time it was $1.3 billion. Again, this is revenue from last year. This is separate from the GAA. This is separate from the operating account from the state, which to me is good news. We all know what condition and failure the MBTA has been operating in for decades and decades. It's underfunded. It's in poor operating shape, a lot of infrastructure problems and issues. So, long story short, the ballot question as presented was a 50-50 split. That is correct. This surplus, we dedicated close to $800 million for the MBTA. That being said, there are some concerns. The bulk of that $800 million strike that was going to public transportation, a lot of it going to the MBTA. I mean, I hear concerns, and I also would like to advocate that the MBTA is broken. We need to dedicate it. However, our roads, our bridges, they still need to be improved significantly. So there's that discussion going on the public on the public transit side. The education side, the previous year we went a little bit. The first year of the millionaire's tax, we went a little bit more for education and not transportation. So, that's going to go to a conference. I don't know. This is the surplus. So we're dealing with multiple bills. The supplemental for surplus, we're dealing with this year's fiscal year budget, and we're also dealing with another supplemental for a closeout for the shelter. So I understand the point. I understand the concerns. However, if you look at this fiscal year budget, FY26, and I don't want to get into the weeds too much that I'm already deep in, We have significantly increased funding for education in the schools. It's going from essentially $70 in some districts to $150. Going to be a minimum of $150 per student in every school district across the state. So that's good news. Second good news is there's an increase in transportation. We know that transportation, particularly in the rural areas, is very expensive, but it's also important here in the city, and that has increased by $150 million. So I understand the concern that there's been shortchanged on one end, but there's kind of balance with some other sources of revenue.
I tried to ease you in here, Rodney, but now John wants to speak. Go ahead, John.
I know that was a long, complicated, but to answer your question, yes, surplus is working. The millionaire's tax. However, there are some concerns, but we fight as best
Rodney,
as we
thanks for
can.
getting up extra early. Thanks for dragging yourself in here this morning. The governor, in my opinion, has spent way too much money on the homeless. Now, I thought the UMass Inn and Conference Center was going to be empty for going back to the college. This morning's Lowell Sun through Melanie Gilbert's article says it's going to be called a rapid track center.
Rapid track, excuse me, not trans, rapid track, right. That's correct.
What the heck is a rapid track center?
Say that 10 times fast.
I don't know if Rodney knows.
I don't have a complete answer to that. I received a phone call yesterday morning from the governor's office notifying me of the decision or the press release that was coming out in a few hours. So I have a voicemail and a text. Senator Kennedy and I did speak subsequent to that phone call because he got one of similar nature, and this is as much of a surprise to me and Senator Kennedy as I suppose everyone else. My voicemail indicated that the city manager has had several conversations with Secretary Augustus, so this apparently has been taking place. I don't know when those conversations took place. My understanding, there's been conversations with the university as well, and I've not spoken to the chancellor nor the president, so I don't want to speculate, but this has, I do know that there are some financial issues with the university, and I don't know if this is a stopgap measure. What I do know is that the emergency assistance was and is scheduled to conclude the end of June. I do know that they were paying the university $1 million a year. I do know that there's a $16 million debt on the Inn and Conference Center. That is a source of revenue, so I'm presuming that the university is on board. I'm trying to choose my words carefully because I've not had conversation, but
The bottom line, you don't know a heck of a lot about it.
I don't know what, other than what I have in the voicemail. I know there's 125 people at capacity that was,
See,
that
now,
was mentioned.
moving over to the Rook.
what I do know, I'll just finish, is this is scheduled to continue through not of this year, June of this year, June of the following year,
How confident are
2026.
you that there's going to be bulldozers on the ground for the Rook Bridge next year?
Very confident. This year. So the contract, the last,
So before your reelection starts next year, we'll have the construction of the Rook Bridge starting.
they have already initiated, they're doing some site investigations or, engineering. They
I've
did
read the
sign the
paper, too.
contract. The contract was signed with the low bidder on May 1st. I got that report
the low bidder?
last Friday. The low bidder was Skanska.
The people building the high school.
They have a completely separate division of Skanska. It's like Suffolk. It's like, these major construction companies. So, and it was by a wide margin, by the way. It was around over 20 plus million. Low bidder was 273 million. The estimate, by the way, out on the bid spec was 207 million, which, Senator Kennedy and I, we talk regularly, and the estimate was 194 million just before the bid. So the low bid is 273. I've been assured by the project manager and the project group financing. This has been approved But the people, people don't really understand the makeup of DOT. There's actually a board of directors, and the board of directors has approved the 10-year capital improvement plan.
Well, Rodney, I mean,
And in that is
I
not
love you,
only...
man, but I mean, Bernie Lynch had plans, written plans, all these documentations that Bernie Lynch had, and it just never happened.
For
So
what?
that's why I'm happy to know.
Bernie Lynch had plans for what?
There were pictures of the Little Rock Bridge.
Oh, well, look, that's a previous, all I can tell you is what I do know and what I have in paper. They did sign the contract. They will be issuing the notice to proceed, and that was last week. So presumably this or next week, and work will initiate. Now, when will you see bulldozers? And I haven't seen the schedule on exactly the phases.
But my
of the
takeaway from what
construction.
you just said is this. Contract's been signed by the same outfit that's running Lowell High School. It's been signed. So.
Well, it's not the same group, but it is the
It's
same
my takeaway. So
parent corporation.
bulldozers, we'll have equipment erecting this bridge.
I hope by the fall.
This
Erecting,
year,
well,
this year.
look, again, it's complicated, a bridge is
Well,
complicated.
once these guys show up to do the job, they're going to finish the job.
Once the
They're not-
contract is signed, as far as I'm concerned, yes, we want the shovels in the ground, without a doubt. But as long as that contract is signed and they receive their notice to proceed, because they got to put all their bonds in place, they've got to, it's,
So it's right now, it's still wobbly. I'm taking away now,
No,
now
it's-
because we have to get this in place. We have to
I don't
get
know how much more clear I can, it's not wobbly, the contract signed, it is proceeding. I don't know when they're gonna go put that first
I'll give-
shovel in
I'll
the
give
ground.
it over to
But I
Mr.
can assure you something, you will be one of the first person that I will call when I find out,
This
okay?
reminds me of the courthouse.
I asked for a weekly report, I'm on the phone weekly with Mass DOT. They are so sick and tired of hearing me, they're gonna put that shovel in the ground just so I'll stop calling.
Now, if you want a bridge built real fast, you got to get Marty Meehan involved, that's all.
just like the
That's it.
courthouse,
He's the
Bobby.
guy right now controlling the whole area, because he's going to be spending a lot of money in our city, believe me.
Well, the people were so
I'm
negative
a-
about the courthouse being built. Oh, it's never going to be built. And
Well,
it takes time. It takes, it's.
I can say this, that I'm a fan of Marty Meehan still.
There's a reason I use
Keep
the
going,
word
buddy.
speed of government.
Right.
It's the speed of government.
All right,
But is it true that we always take the lowest bidder? Every project, they said we have
take
to?
the thing, right?
So,
You
No.
you don't have to,
all right,
no.
that's what someone
There
told
are
me.
There are some, circumstances, the quality of the bidder, the state does have a rating and performance of contractors on prior projects.
Okay,
I don't know what the case is with this, but by the time the bid's closed, they have to do the due diligence naturally, but to take a bidder that's essentially 25 million more than the low bidder, there's going to be
Right.
substantial reason. And they have to go through the bid to see what's included and what's not included, because some bidders, in other projects throughout my tenure, and I'm not pointing the finger at any particular one, they put a bid in, but then there's change order and change order and change
well,
order
that's
and
my,
change
what
order
I
and
was just
change
going
order.
to
So-
get at. So if I hire a contractor at my home for X amount of dollars to put my addition on, if he wants to keep coming to me to say, oh, this is more money, things have gone up, you quoted me this, that's what I'm paying.
Right.
And I don't know, like the high school, for instance, we just keep going up, and they should have known that. That's on them as far as, me looking outside, from the outside looking in, I feel like you put the bid on. You should have known all these things. This was an old building. Why do we have to keep paying more and more to the contractor? He bid on the project. That's what you're doing.
You
What's
know,
this,
I,
about a
lo-
2-year project, Rodney? The bridge?
The bridge?
2-year?
The bridge is a 3-year project.
before I get to Rodney, she just said something that brought up, look at what's going up across the street from you right now.
Oh,
It's the biggest hole I ever seen
I know.
dug in the city of Lowell. And do you know what that is? I talked to Ed Kennedy. That's a storage tank,
Yeah.
basically, for storage.
Really?
For storage. Yeah, that's what I'm pretty sure I'm
Well,
right.
it was either there or it gets backed up in everyone's basement.
The size of it's like a football field long, football field wide,
Yeah.
and the deepest part's probably 30 to 40 feet down.
Is that in Sal's
incredible.
property there across the way from the building?
No, it's
Right
in the
across from
stadium.
her house.
It's in
Oh,
the
I thought you were talking
stadium.
about your work. I'm sorry.
No, the stadium parking
So as part
lot.
of the agreement with the Environmental Protection Agency to
Okay.
separate the sewer, it's
okay.
our
Yep.
combined sewer overflow
Yep.
system.
I will.
Rather than rip up X amount of roads and put in separate sewer lines and then separate storm drain lines. And I think it's a pretty good solution during high rains, during high weather. All that water goes to the wastewater treatment plant, right? Because our sewers and our drains are combined.
Right.
And so that means when that happens, they got to open up gates. There's 6 or 7 gates along the Merrimack in order,
Right.
so the wastewater treatment plant won't explode and overflow. They open these gates. Storing, this is capacity, storing it makes sense for once the wet weather slows down, then you can release that and have it treated rather than going into
Do you
the
still
rain.
work for the EPA?
No,
You
I-
don't
you
work
left.
for them?
no, I left the EPA in 2017.
Okay. I'm looking down through this glass table we have here, and I can see Rodney has shoes on, not sneakers, because the one thing I got to give him a lot of credit for is he's everywhere. He really is. I want to thank him for the help that he gives Project Compass. That's something my sister Ronnie's involved in, for homeless shelters for 18 to 24-year-old girls. I think you're on the board there.
I am on the
And-
board. They
well,
do great stuff, and I have to tell you, there is some exciting news coming up that I cannot
Yeah,
share.
I'm
but
trying to
it's,
get Dave on the show because they bought the building next to Hafner's. But where I was trying to go with this here.
When Ronnie calls me today and says, "Why was Bobby talking about this?" I don't
I just know some great things are coming,
Yeah,
and
no,
I'll get
it's-
Dave on the show anyways.
Yeah,
And
Dave's
what-
great.
where I was going
And your
with this.
sister won't come on the show because she's afraid of you, right? Is that
Yeah,
what's up?
well, let me put it this way, where I'm trying to go with this is, I know what you've done for my sister, and I appreciate that help.
Yeah.
I always supported you only because of your in-laws, the Machados. That's how I am. I'm gonna
Well, I
vote
thought
for
you
you.
supported me for a
No,
little
no,
bit
no,
more
I'm
reasons.
not, listen.
Going from bad to worse here.
No, we talked about it on the show.
I understand.
Tom and I and Ned, we've talked about it before.
My first sign went up on on the side of your garage.
Yeah, and Bill Hoey was a big supporter of you, but he lived in your district. I don't. I wish I did, but I didn't. But anyways, I know what you've done for a lot of different people, just like my sister. Is there anything you can do for the Register of Deeds? Maybe help her out down there in the state to say, hey, she could use maybe 1 or 2 people.
Well, you were
She's
talking about
understaffed.
before-
She's understaffed. It is a state,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
It's all
state, yeah,
state.
yeah.
So I don't know if it's you or Ed Kennedy who I would have to try to get some
Well,
help
Bobby,
with
she
that.
should probably tell her story that she
No,
was telling
yeah.
before Rodney walked
Oh,
in
there you
about
go.
how you're understaffed and
No,
your
I just figured I'd do their work
No,
for
it's
them
good,
right
good.
now.
Yeah, no, I
Rodney's
did
here.
hear a little bit about it, and
Yeah.
good news is I'm on the Committee on Ways and Means. Bad news is I'm on the Committee on Ways and Means.
We appreciate your honesty.
No,
Well, they talk
so,
about
and I
hiring.
attended, we had Ways and Means hearing throughout the state, and I went to all of them, except Gloucester, because the governor was in town, but it was important, it was important to go and to listen to testimony. When I say we have meetings, we're talking 5, 6, 7 hours, and we have various individuals testify. One of them would be, I guess your boss, outside of the people, is Bill Galvin.
Oh, yeah.
And the Secretary of State, all of those, funding requests go into the Secretary of State, and then, they submit the budget to the Commonwealth, or to the governor, and then H1. So, look, I'm happy to do anything I can, send a letter, make a call, speak to the chairman of Ways and Means. Maybe give me a call and see how, if we can get the delegation, or you get a lot of communities, you get a lot of towns, and
Right.
getting support from all those communities certainly doesn't hurt.
Right.
You must know Karen and Artie, correct? Personally,
A little
do you know
bit,
them?
Yes, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad was best friends with his father-in-law, Tommy. Speaking of-
Well, I'm sure.
Also my father, my wife's family.
Yeah.
If I could put Rodney Elliott, Laurie Machado's husband on the ballot, I'd never have a problem. I need more people saying, "Oh, you're Laurie Machado's husband."
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just saying, yeah. That's good.
Oh, man.
Good stuff.
So, yeah, look, funding from the state perspective, we're in pretty sound fiscal shape. Now, that being said, we've hit our benchmarks for the last 3 months, but, unemployment is starting to increase. You look at capital gains, they didn't come in and meet the benchmark. So, when going full circle on this conversation, Bobby, about, the millionaire's tax and the impact on education or, communities feeling shortchanged. We try to do that balancing act, and we've got to get the MBTA, we've got to get our roads and our bridges back in shape, and the MBTA is taking the lion's share. It reminds me of the big dig when, the gas tax was, all the revenue coming in from, from the gas tax was going to the big dig. It was a evil necessity, I suppose, but we got to get people back on the MBTA, and the only way to do that is to improve it. People say the traffic is worse than ever. It's because, in large part, people aren't taking the commuter rail or mass transit because it's unreliable, it's dangerous, it is expensive, and the state's we're trying to, and I have to say the executive director is doing an amazing job, and he inherited an absolute mess, and we're getting there. It's still going to take some time.
This is the new person that Governor Haley hired, right? You're talking
Phil
about-
Eng, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, they're talking about a hiring freeze in the state. The
Yeah, I think,
executive
I've read
branch.
that.
Yeah, the governor implemented hiring fees just
So-
for that. If you look at, I follow the revenue and Mass Taxpayers Foundation, they put out reports, and there's a Revenue Consensus Commission, which is joint House and Senate. I go to those hearings, I read the reports, and those are the reports you want to look at. You want to monitor spending, of course, but if, just like I did on the council, you got to monitor where the money is coming in, and particularly when it comes to sales tax, income tax, and capital gains. Those are your three benchmarks that you have to keep an eye on, because if there are dips in those, that affects your ability to spend.
When they say hiring freeze, is it like every position, or say if there's a needed position, is that still in a freeze?
It's
or-
probably similar to, what we did on the city level. We put a hiring freeze in, but, you need to hire police, you need to
I mean, I'd say you
hire
need to hire the city treasurer. You gotta
emergency,
hire- Okay, so that
or,
is.
positions of absolute necessity now. That's a
if you look
slippery
at the
slope.
state prison system, you probably have somewhere about the average overtime. If you're an overtime, let's say hog, you want it all the time. My friends are making over 200,000, 250,000 in overtime. That's how understaffed the prisons are. Big issue at the state level.
It's funny you say that, because when you come off the ramp at 93, there's a old Charles Street jail, I don't know what it's called now, but there is one of the largest signs I've ever seen, now hiring correctional officers.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, they'd save money if they hired.
Well, I don't know, they have too much overtime, but that's why I brought it up about you, because over the years I watched you. I watched that whole department, and it just was torn down to nothing. And it's only because you don't have no backbone. I'm sorry to say it that way.
Right.
No, you're a union. I don't know what your union number is, but like 429 has a Jeff Thomas speaking for it in Lowell all the time, okay?
Right.
I know I was a very strong union person for the prison at Concord Prison. And that's why they closed Concord. They closed it because we were too strong. We had 5,000 members. State troopers joined our union. You know why? They wanted a pension like us. We got the 2050 bill, 20 years service, 50% with insurance. You know what the stateies got by joining us? 2575 plus insurance the rest of their life. As soon as they got that, guess what they did? See you later, prison guards. You're done. We're just like a regular cop inside walls. That's all it is. But
No,
Karen, how
I mean,
many
I'm just
employees
saying,
do you have in your
unions to
office?
me.
Nine.
Rodney, you-
Nine?
Yeah.
9 employees, and they're all full-time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing I think we have a problem with the city and at the state level, is unions are stronger than people think. They're very powerful.
Well, luckily, we got some interns, because at
You were
least
talking
we'll
about that at
have...
the beginning of the show,
Right,
right?
we'll have some help to cover phones if we need that.
Good.
And, projects that have been waiting to be finished.
Right.
They're going to start working
Anybody
on
help out
them.
with those
Yep.
projects?
Yeah, they already
So-
started, yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Now, these college interns or just?
Yes.
Oh, great. It's
Yeah.
great.
How many years do you have in that business?
34.
34, wow.
God bless you. I only did
Amazing.
20 in the prisons. I couldn't do 32. No
Right.
way. You can have your 80%. Just give me 60. I'll be happy.
Now, what committees are you on this year, Rodney? I know you mentioned Ways and Means. What else are you on? Any?
Yeah, so I'm on 4 committees, Ways and Means being the biggest. I'm also on the Committee on Public Service. Speaking of correctional officers bill, I did file a bill on behalf of correctional officers. We can talk about that later. Public Service, I'm also on Public Safety and Homeland Security and Economic Development and Emerging Technology.
Chair of any of them? You chair of any of those?
You got to spend a lot.
A little more
You know,
seniority.
24 years on the city council and the mayor, it doesn't transfer down.
No, I'm just saying, I don't know if,
No,
yeah.
you know, it's a seniority thing. That's
Yeah.
why during the days
course.
of, the Murphy, Nangle, golden years, I mean, they were all in leadership positions because they, you got to do,
Well, I think
do
Ed
your
Kennedy
time
was
down
talking
there.
about the last time he was on here about how he's moved up so fast in seniority because of people not running again. Is that the case? I mean,
That's typically the case,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
the good news is there's only 40 senators over
that's what
there.
I'm saying. Is you guys got 160, right?
So,
160,
the way
140.
the earmarks work is both committees sort of agree on a dollar figure.
Right.
And then we have to split that pie with 160 members, or unless the speaker wants 25 million for his parking garage.
Do you have an office where you can see a tree out a window or something like that?
I do not. Nope.
Do you have a staff?
Still in the basement.
Do you have any staff?
I actually have an office. Most people. I have a staff. I have one staff person, Stephanie Barr, but she's like having 2 or 3. I have to say. But yeah,
And
you
you
spend
have
some
a
time down there, and you work your way up, and I attend all my committee hearings. The difference between the House and the Senate is we come in and vote. We take attendance at all our committee hearings now. And last term I went to all of them, and the speaker said this time you got to go to the meetings because it was, it wasn't good to see just 2 chair and then a couple of members here and there when there are 11 House and 7 Senate. So that's a new thing this year, taking attendance and posting it online. And we vote from the chamber. So there are some differences, but
Are you still on TV? I remember catching it once in a while.
Yeah.
Or,
Oh, yeah,
yeah, because I
they're all
remember watching
televised.
a few times, like you swearing in and everything.
Yep.
Yes, yeah.
yep, we're all every minute is televised and
Yeah.
it's streamed live.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it's busy. We're in session tomorrow again. We've been in quite a bit, and I think we'll continue. The biggest difference on the committee, our rules, is that in the past, a bill would have a hearing, and there was no definitive time frame to report that out. Favorably, send it to a study, ought not to pass. This year, we adopted rules, the House did, that after a bill is heard, within 60 days, that bill is required to be reported out, ought to pass, ought not to pass, sent to study. Which is good news, because we would have hearings, the hearings are 2-3 hours, not like Ways and Means, but some can be long. And then, the bills, the deadline was in the past, the second year of the session, we'd wait till, February or March. And I think that's good. I think that's good to keep things going, and the Senate kind of has their own rules, which we're still trying to agree on some rules, but I'm not sure that's going to happen.
Well,
Anyway,
I heard there was a bill about stabilizing rents.
Yeah.
Well, Tara Hong, I think, filed it, or he's going to, or, we.
maybe, I don't know.
Right,
There's-
I don't know. I
right now,
heard
there's
about it
6,000
yesterday.
bills, so.
Right? And my thought was, what happens to the landlord? To
Rent
stabilize.
stabilization has been down at the State House for quite some time. There's a number of bills. I don't know if Tara signed on to it.
Oh,
I know some concerns and controversy was over a bill called God in My Backyard.
well,
And some neighborhood groups have kind of caught wind of it and are not too happy with the bill. And essentially, it's any religious organization. It was filed by Representative Vargas out of Haverhill, co-sponsored with Tara Hong and Representative Hong and Representative Howard. And essentially, it's, if you have
I heard
religious
it on-
organizations can build up to a lot, I think up to 50 units on
Right,
on an acre.
right. I don't think that would work in the
You-
city.
I want to ask Atty a question.
Sure.
Atty, comes to sick time, I know when you worked for the schools, I believe you got 33.33%
Right.
on your sick time. Now that you're with Karen, do they have the same percentage? Or are you
So-
20%, like prison guards with 20
Yeah, I
cents?
think
It's 20% now.
20, so I hope you don't get beat for that 13.33%
Right.
by the move you made. You might have to watch that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because to me, sick time is you wonder, when you're understaffed like your place is, right?
Right.
And I'm not saying you have a sick time problem, but the prisons, being understaffed, they cause sick time
Yeah.
problems. I know I was a person that used all my sick time.
I mean, I had
'Cause I
so
didn't
much time when I was in Lowell. I was there 10 years. I lost all my time.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you had to be there 15 years, they said, and I only had 10 years in. So I had to start over.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
very,
it took, you had 50 years to get vested, is that what you mean when you say?
15 years.
To what?
In order to like even cash it in or something,
Oh.
they told me. You lose it all unless you're there
Okay.
15 years. That's what I was told.
And that would be through the contract.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
It's just,
so
Is
you
the
lost
state-
it all.
Is the state
Yeah,
the same way?
I had over
Karen?
100, I had
The
over
state's-
100 days easy. I don't even know, I didn't want to.
20%
a lot.
they would get.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Can I
terrible.
just say something?
Yeah.
John is extraordinarily quiet over there.
All right.
I'm actually a little nervous. I'm a little nervous, John.
So he was hepped
not
up about
kidding.
the Rock Bridge. He was hepped up,
We'll have another day, hold on.
you had him hepped up about the Rock.
Oh, you're right. You were pretty charged up about the work bridge.
Let's talk about the manager's, let's talk about the manager's contract.
I'm just really
I
glad.
don't know much about it, so let's go look at something else.
We're lucky to have Rodney down there, and we're lucky to have Ed Kennedy down there.
Yeah.
That's how I'm feeling, that's for sure.
Yeah, having that, we're talking about seniority, having Senator Kennedy over on the Senate side is, it is significant, without a doubt. I mean, the three reps on our side, we can work with leadership, but having, you need that flip side. We can do everything we can in the House, but if we don't have that support on the Senate side, both financially and with any legislation, then, it's,
You have a good
it does take a team, and I'm glad. I talk to Ed, I don't know how many times a week, but we stay in touch on a lot of things. The shelter, earmarks, legislation, he filed an important bill that died in Ways and Means last year for River's Edge. And River's Edge is a development that took the old Julian Steel project, and it was a home rule, and we got permission to demolish it and build 181 affordable units through 5 phases. The 5th phase has been stalled for about 9 years. When I got on the Housing Authority, that was my first motion, that was the first initiative, let's get this back on track. Long story short, we need legislation to allow RS, Residents First Development Corporation, to build another 32 units, which would exceed the 181 by 4 units. So Senator Kennedy got it through the Senate last year, filed the bill, or 2 years ago actually, and the session expired and we weren't able to get it out of the House. So we refiled it again this year, and I'm trying to get it on as part of the budget, keeping our fingers crossed, because it doesn't cost anything. All it allows us to, housing, Phase 5, and by the way, Enterprise Bank and Silver, they've done an amazing job, Dennis Connors. They would like to see this finished. And as a person that voted for this, voted in support of this legislation, strike that, it wasn't a home rule. It was very controversial. The Archdiocese was against it, a lot of housing advocates, but it turned out to be a great success, and we got to finish Phase 5. My hope is that we're going to get it in as, a rider. To get it done. The bill still is filed, but long story short, that's where we need 2 sides of the aisle to have support to get things
And how many
done.
more units would it be?
So
Phase 5?
it'll be 32 units.
Oh, 32.
Wow.
And it'll increase the number of units. There was a limit in the enabling legislation back in 2000 because we didn't want a developer coming in with a plan, to put, 200, 300, 250, highly dense populated housing complex. So that's why there was a limit. DHCD at the time was in complete favor. They wrote the legislation. They want to see this happen. And so we're keeping our fingers crossed this is going to go through in the near future.
You have a good relationship with the speaker?
I do.
Great. That's
Absolutely, yeah.
key. He there for a little bit longer, you think? Or?
I think he's there for a while, yeah. He just
Yeah.
ran for re-election.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like he's slowing down at all whatsoever. I know there are, speaking of rumors, there are rumors, but I see him, I speak to him regularly, and he's still engaged by far.
Yeah,
I
great.
think last couple of months, he's had to put in at least 40, 50 pieces of legislation
Yeah.
in.
Yeah,
That's
no,
how busy he does stay.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah, no, and I'm sure Quincy does.
I worked for 4 mayors, not you, Rodney. You weren't there for me. But
right.
I worked for 4 different mayors. I love saying this. Ed was always my favorite out of the 4. And I also worked in the 7 years for 4 superintendents.
Oh, there you
It's
go.
kind of an issue, I think, in Lowell. We get rid of them too quick.
Yeah, we do.
I'd like to throw a few questions at Atty about schools, but I won't do that to
Well, I
him.
was there for those superintendents, I believe, too,
Yeah.
so I'm just saying in my 10 years.
I hear you. I'll catch you next time, Atty.
I thought Bill Samaras was your favorite. Yeah.
No, Bill would have been 3rd. Bud Coffer was number 2. I'm not afraid to say it. Kennedy has done a lot. Listen, we all love Pangy, right? Most people love Pangy. Ed Kennedy has done a lot for the whole area. A lot. I'm telling you. You might not like him or myself because we wanted it downtown, that big issue, but Ed Kennedy has been a good senator. He
Yeah, I
has
have to
been
tell
a
you,
good
Lowell's
senator.
been blessed with a strong delegation. As I mentioned, I left out Steve, but Steve was chairman of Ways and Means.
Yes, I remember
Yeah.
that.
Chairman
Right.
of Ways and Means, and
Right.
I forget how many years. Does John know? No, he's not paying attention now.
Pansy.
He got his pound of flesh.
Battery problems over here.
Oh,
Well, in my...
He had three members in the House in leadership positions.
Yeah.
And then you had Pansy on the Senate side. Even before that, then you had, you had John Cox and,
Go back to Phil
Eddie
Shea.
Lavasher
Go back to
and-
Phil Shea days and Tully days. You always had a great delegation in this area.
so it takes some time to get some seniority down there, but we're getting there.
Things are
and,
changing, It used to be the swamp. Belvedere, where I live, was the swamp. We lost. Get over it. Tom Bomil, you're in the new swamp. You know what I'm talking about, Tom.
You're in the
It
swamp?
bounces.
That's what Bobby says.
It's almost like police departments in education. Sometimes the Irish would be ruling it. Another time the Greeks would be ruling it. It went like that in education also. But Lowell itself, one of the greatest cities you could ever come from, I'm telling you. Look at the people where they bounce around. I wish I did work when Rodney was the mayor, because I might have tried to save the one that went to Chelmsford, Jay Lang. I might have tried to save him.
Great guy. I
No,
worked
it's just
with him
don't,
at Chelmsford,
listen,
too. Yeah.
stuff happens for reasons,
Yeah.
and the things that,
Sometimes we make good,
Yeah.
bad, and different decisions.
you never know.
We're not
It's
perfect.
not an easy thing.
I work with him in Chelmsford now, and he's a good superintendent.
Yeah, I just
You
left
know,
here, that's
he's
what I
young.
left, I was
Listen.
here.
Right, right.
You never know.
You gotta have 4 votes on the school committee. That's the bottom line. And now you need 6, Look at my friend Eric Gitche, he can't even get 4 votes. He can't get 4 votes, and he sounds a lot, when it comes to finances, a lot like you did when you were on the city council. He
He
cannot
does
get
his
4.
homework. He does his
Can't
homework.
get
oh my
4,
gosh,
though.
he does.
Can't get
Eric
4.
does a fabulous
And,
job.
well, he loves that job he has. They just had a meet and greet, all the new students that went out at the Great Lowell Technical High School. You can bet he had that place clean. Imagine working for him. Oh, it's almost like, I'm gonna tell you, it's almost probably like working for McDonough. Might be.
Whoa!
Well,
There we go.
They want to
Dropping
give,
the ball with
listen,
5
I'm going to
minutes.
drop the bomb on this guy over here, because all he tries to do is give people everything he can give them. I don't care what you want to talk about, he just tries to give people, the customers, everything you can give them. And I'm just one of the guys on the spokes, that's all. He has some great staff. The staff that he has, I only been there a little over a year and a half. Great staff. Well, what do you think it's like working for Everett Kitchen?
Thanks, Bobby. Get back to the.
Hey, I am. The
Get back to
piano.
the what?
So Karen, are you still working at Alfrescas?
Yes, I am.
My favorite place, but you're closed on Monday nights, right?
Closed Mondays.
You're a mother of a son that's a policeman
I am.
and a
Yes.
husband that's a policeman.
Yes.
Do you sleep at night?
Barely,
I was thinking, it must be tough to have
right?
a husband's one thing, but your son being a cop too, those are
Right.
scary jobs now.
Karen, how
No,
many
it
nights do you do at El Fresco?
Two
You're
nights.
still doing it. I
Yeah.
figured when you got the new position, you might.
I know.
cut
Well,
back.
Erica and Mark are so good to me. They're really good people.
Yeah.
They supported me throughout my campaign, and
Yeah.
How
I
about all the
just-
customers you met at that store? You think that helped you?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Big time.
I mean, and honestly, they still come in. We're friends. So,
And I really appreciate that $100 gift certificate you gave me, because their chicken pie was unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Karen, what nights do you work? Friday,
I work
Saturday?
Thursday and Friday, but it
Thursday and
has
Friday.
been changing a little bit.
Yeah.
So it depends. I mean, Erica will try and she'll use me where she can. So
Because I think Shannon works. My girl.
yeah, Shannon Rowe is Friday.
My former work. wife.
Usually Fridays. Shannon works
Yeah, I was
and
with her last week. She's a
Wednesdays.
sweetheart. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can't go wrong. Any mail there is fabulous.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got the microphone, so announce who's on tomorrow, please.
Yeah, tomorrow, Linda Bond with Danny Rourke, the mayor, done a great job hiring that superintendent, Danny. Kim Scott and Mike Dillon Jr. So all of us, get up off the couch, elevate your heart, Mike Dillon. One of my favorites.
My
He really
nephew.
is. He's your nephew?
Yes,
He's one of my favorites in life. He's a great kid, great guy.
I know my mother-in-law's watching, so, hello, Jake. Avid watcher.
If I lose this race for Lowell School Committee, I might run for the Greater Lowell Technical High School if your mother-in-law is listening. And the first thing I do is put a stone out there for Timmy, your son. He's done more for so many children, for me alone, has saved at least 100 in my lifetime. At least,
Yeah.
maybe a
He's
little
still
more.
out there, too. He's still working part-time out there.
Truant officer.
Wow.
Yeah.
I catch him. I know where he is. I watch him like a hawk. I do. I catch him everywhere. He's a tremendous guy, goes to people's houses,
Right.
and has saved so many. I like to put it the way I do always put it. He saved more Spanish kids than anybody in the city ever has. How's that? Saved them, kept them in school, and got them a trade. What a guy.
I
He
did
really
my student teaching out there, and he kept them all in line. He did a great job.
Yeah, and his nose, I think I had a little bit to do with bending his nose playing junior football against him, because I always wanted to beat him at something. He was a good athlete,
Could have been
too.
wrestling, too. Who knows?
And I have to say this, since we're talking wrestling, in my age group, the best all-around athlete was a guy named Tipper Durkin. Was all around, basketball, football, baseball, anything, he could play it, yeah. In wrestling, I was terrible. I only did it 1 year. I couldn't handle George Bossy. Wow, what a worker he is too, huh?
Great
Think
guy.
of Lowell. How many years he got? 60 years maybe?
That's amazing.
He's like 85 years old, right?
Unbelievable.
Something like that.
Amazing.
He's in his 80s.
Well, we got 4 minutes left. Hold on, let me see.
Anybody have something to say? Go ahead, take over
No, I'm
somebody.
talked out, I think. We had a good show today with all
Well,
with these guests.
I'll
I mean,
just say that all of them, I think all of them are great for Lowell, all three of the guests today.
Right?
Dra-
Rodney,
No, I think I've been talking enough.
no, you did a good job today.
Right?
No, I'm glad you talked about that gas tax, because it was a big part of our conversation at the last city council meeting. The superintendent talked about the 4 million that they were ready to cut out of the budget, and I said it earlier on the show that, help me out, Jake Break, what's the name of that?
Jake break.
Jake Breaking, the superintendent, Jake braked the city council. When he spoke about that $4 million, he stopped them all. Let's go back to the drawing board. It was unbelievable what Lee and Skinner did, and we should all.
Before Atty gets on, you have to repeat your question, Bob, because I don't.
Yeah.
Ask Atty, what kind of defense do his computers have for AI? Especially on holiday weekends, what kind of
For AI.
defense?
Did you hear that?
Oh, yeah, what kind of defense does the state have?
For,
Oh, you're
Yeah.
talking about the
We do
website?
this thing with- Right now, there's somebody
Yeah.
in Saudi Arabia trying to steal my house. The holiday weekend's coming up, when no one's gonna be in the office. What's it done?
Well, Boston has their own IT department, so they actually handle it. We don't handle it like here. The new software that we're demoing.
Steal my house out of you, I'm coming after you.
The new software that they're
They're on
demoing is actually going to be cloud-based, so I don't even know if the state's going to actually handle it any further. I'm not sure. But I do know that we're demoing software, and they talked about it being cloud-based servers that this company's going to take on.
Quite bluntly, I heard the state is trying to shift their responsibility so they can blame someone when AI rips them off.
All the more reason to sign up for our consumer notification system.
Right?
Like, seriously, I mean, it's right on the website.
And then make sure you have your
Scroll about
Homestead
halfway
Act.
down. It's in red and white. Click on the button, sign up here, and you can call us if you have any questions, 978-322-9000, and you can ask for help to walk you through it, because some people find it a little bit tricky. If you're not real computer savvy, we're glad to help you in any way we can.
In case somebody wants to write the phone number down, say it slowly.
Sure, 978-322-9000. That's our main line. So if you have any questions or concerns trying to fill out it online, the application, just give us a call and we will walk you through it.
And that's why I say humans are the most important part when you're understaffed. But thank God the leader of the place has 32 years of experience, because her experience can rub off to the rest of her staff and look for the scams that are coming in or people trying to rip us off. So it's great to have you, Karen, that's for
Right,
sure.
thank you so much.
Yeah, I know I'm not going to have to work hard for you again, because you'll be there as long as you want to be there. Same for you, Rodney. I think you're going to be a state rep as long as you want to be.
Well, thank you, I appreciate it. You work at it every day.
Do you work for Chelmsford also? Is that
I
part
have
of
North Chelmsford, I have Westlands, so we're in that community every day too.
You say it's great working for Karen, huh?
Oh, amazing.
I had a friend of mine would
Known
say
her
to
for
me,
a long time.
he had such a great job, he was afraid to go to bed at night because he was afraid to wake up in the morning, the job wouldn't be there. He was working- he had a great boss. He had
The
such a great
office
boss.
has changed. Even when it's time to leave, people are still at their desk. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's, okay, it's time to leave.
Oh, my God.
But everyone's actually getting along and socializing.
That's good.
and,
Rodney-
yeah,
Rodney
things are
has-
getting done.
Rodney
no-
has a connection with the Cremens, Sean Cremen and Dave Cremen, both great runners. Dave was great runner in college. Yeah, bye.
See you,
But
everybody.
Rodney has some miles under his belt too. Might not run as fast as them. Have a great day, everybody.
See you tomorrow, thank you.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.